me. They all try to convince me, but I still wear a smile on my face. A smile is just a start from a good happy place. Look, hold on to possibilities of who you wanna be. What you see, what you believe, be your destiny. Like they say, everybody can take this ride. Sometime you must encourage yourself to live the good life. Everybody wants a good life, yeah, a piece of the pie. Good life, see, everybody wants the good life, the good life.
Hey, hey. Hey, everybody. How are you? I'm Musa Jackson, and welcome to Ambassador Digital Magazine Live. Here we are. Wow. Today is October 1st, first of the month. Wow, we have come, a new month. We've come a long way together. We have, right? And here we are, October, and October is, we are literally a little under a month before the election, which should be on everybody's minds. We're going to get into that. I'm going to be talking about that, get into that throughout the night. And then definitely, throughout the weeks leading up to the election. But this month also is the, October is known for honoring and focusing on breast cancer. So it's officially Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And we'll be talking about that as well with our esteemed guest for tonight. But before we go into that, I'm always going, as the Black man up in Harlem, the Harlem ambassador, I always talk about what's happening in the world. And, we'll go with the pump, talk about, first let's talk about the essential healthcare workers. They're still out there, as we go into the fall, we have to be still very conscious of what's happening. I know restaurants have opened up. So they're doing, it's a maximum capacity about 25 to 30% inside. They're still on the outside as well. So we got to still wear those masks and still be conscious of our fellow man in terms of, what's happening with this virus that's still going on. And so I know certain numbers are rising in certain parts of the nation. We kept the death rate pretty low. If it's low. So at this point, but we don't want it to spike. Anyway, so moving on. Thank you, essential healthcare workers. What's this? Pumpkinhead, we know he wanted to rush, using the Senate to rush the very conservative Amy, Becky, Karen, Coney Barnett for the Supreme Court vacancy that was once held by the late, great, notorious RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, of course, against her wishes, against all of our wishes, but that's how they're trying to do. So we know that that's going to be pushed through, more than likely before November. So I guess that's happening. Also, I can't even digest this, without just thinking about Breonna Taylor and how her family just all of us are with you, and we're grateful that they are now looking into, are going to turn over certain information regarding what Kentucky AG Daniel Cameron, Kentucky Coon, or whatever, did not do. As a matter of fact, I'm reading that he never recommended, which we knew, never recommended murder charges in the Breonna Taylor case. So she, essentially rendering her life absolutely worthless. you know, how do you not recommend murder or bring any of that information when that's why we're here? Because she was murdered, but you found reason to charge a man who shot into another home, charge a cop who shot into another home. He's now charged. We just had a little slip up there, a little technical difficulty, but Daniel Cameron, he is just really not with us, not on our sides. I think he is just essentially trying to disrupt this whole process and make sure that justice is not served for the family. But thank God they and her attorneys are making sure that that does not happen. And there's just so much happening in the world. I also read that 45,000 airline workers were furloughed, you know, because this whole pandemic relief has been stalled. So now our airline workers can you know, now are without work, as well as millions of other Americans, because they are not passing the next pandemic relief. They managed to pass the relief for big business and corporations, but somehow the American people, the workers, we just, and you know, they're not passing it. They can make sure that we're out of work, that we are struggling, that some of them don't even have health care. Also want to say King LeBron James, my man, King LeBron James, you have done it again. This man right here is just, I say he should be nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize at some point, because We've Got Next voting initiative helped recruit more than 10,000 poll workers in the majority Black electoral districts. So I want to say to you, King LeBron, continue doing what you're doing. You know, it's interesting. He's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. But like Muhammad Ali and Colin Kaepernick, what you have done off the court, you know, will be a legacy that will carry on for not only for the rest of us, for your family, for everything. You are on the right side of history. I thank you for all your efforts and everything that you're doing. Continue to keep doing the great work. Now we move back to Pumpkinhead again. We just, New York Times reported that he showed his income tax return, which, you know, we know he didn't want to show them, but we realize now that we've actually paid more taxes than the president. Most of us have. $750, yeah, I read that correctly. We all read that correctly for both years, for 2 years in a row, and actually several decades of not paying anything at all. And my God, you know, I kept thinking when I read that, someone said, I wonder what Wesley Snipes must feel right now. I know he's ready to backslap him. But anyway, that's no surprise there. Just another thing regarding this president that just makes you say to yourself, how possibly could you ever vote for this man? But then that leads us into the debate, which I know most everybody that I know watched. You know, I was reluctant because I watched, but I was just like, I knew this was going to be exactly what it was. And it turned out to be one of the greatest shows of all time. Biden, I will say this, he held his composure, even though this infant in chief talked all over him. Chris Wallace, don't ever moderate again. We already know that you're not qualified for that job because you let him, in many instances, I'm talking about Pumpkinhead, in many instances, talk over this man who had absolutely nothing to say, so much that Biden had to tell him to shut up. And that's being nice, because if we were in the hood, we would have said something else, okay? And then he dropped the bombshell when it was asked about white supremacy. He could not, I'm talking about Pumpkinhead, infant in chief. When he was asked whether he could denounce white supremacy. Of course, he did not, because he is. And he then mentioned Proud Boys, a notorious group of white supremacists, KKK, neo-Nazi fascist organization, to stand back and stand by. Wow, 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 wow. On a national debate in front of the world. Of course, he denied it later in front of the world because we're all stupid, because he always says it and then denies it. But the dog whistle went out so quickly that Proud Boys changed their logo and put stand back and stand back and stand by. So Proud Boys, I got something to say to you. I will say this to the groups, because I always notice, I grew up in Harlem and I never saw KKK walk through Harlem in the sheets. Why is that? Very conditioned to have it in the South, but why don't you bring it to Harlem? Why don't you bring it to Bed-Stuy? Why don't the Proud Boys come to Bed-Stuy, come to Harlem, come to Compton, come to the Bronx? Bring it in full regalia. Be proud. Be proud of yourself. And I, as the Harlem ambassador, I would love to give you a personal tour. I've got some people that would love to meet you. Some of them, few of them got out of prison, but they would still love to meet you. Y'all talk all that mess. Stand by. We're standing by too. Okay? We are not our ancestors. Get that. Understand that. Check that. Okay? Listen to him if you want to. Listen to your president if you want to. If you want to get it. Because these hands work. Okay? Anyway. We're moving on. Can't wait for next week when our Kamala Harris versus Pence. This is the verses that I've really been waiting for. I love the Gladys and love Patty and love the rest of the Swiss, but honestly, this is the verses that I've been wanting. It's Kamala versus Pence, and that's coming October 7th next week. So I know we tune in. We can't wait for that. Okay, and also, let's be clear. Okay, let's not be distracted by any of this nonsense. Anyone out there, I know none of our people that are watching would ever be distracted by any of this, because we know that we're going to all vote. Some of us can vote early. Some of us will go to the polls. Like I will be going to the polls early. I'll have my snacks if I'm going to be online. I got everything I need, but I'm voting. I'm pulling that lever. Okay. And of course, I'm voting blue. Anybody that doesn't vote blue, you already know not to speak to me. Okay. It's a wrap. So, and I just want to say one last thing. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much to our postal workers out there, because you guys, the postal workers, are going beyond the call of duty. They're working overtime. I know in certain cases, they're not getting overtime pay, just so that they can see this election through. I know they've been, he's had, try to sabotage some of them, or, just really made it difficult. But on top of it all, they're out there, so they're doing heroic work, making sure that this election, that people have an opportunity to vote by mail-in. So I want to say, just thank you. And so that brings us to, like I said, this month is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that will bring me to my esteemed guest. She is a dear, 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 dear friend of mine. I've had the honor. I met her, and just instantly, like most people, you fall in love with this woman. And she's gorgeous. She's beautiful. She is a two-time breast cancer survivor. She's a reality star. She's a philanthropist. She's a comedian. I don't think you knew that. She's also the founder, which is her organization, which helps women that are dealing and going through breast cancer. as well as prevention. I want to bring in my esteemed guest, the beautiful, the lovely Tiffany Denee Jones. Hey, Tiffany. Hey. Tiffany. Okay, we're waiting on Tiffany to come. Have a little technical thing tonight. But here she is. Here she is. Oh, here you are. Tiff.
Hi.
Hi, Tiff.
Hello.
How are you? Show, all cute and stuff. Oh my God. Oh my God. So cute. So are you there by yourself, or are you with the little one?
Oh, I'm with my dogs always. They're in the background.
Okay. So if you hear any little barking or anything like that, guys, that's her 2 little kids over there, her dogs, who she loves.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
Oh, so good to see you.
You too. Always good to see you. You make me smile when I see you. That face, that smile, that energy. It's just like it's incredible. If you know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
You know what I was thinking when we first met? Walking, I believe I was walking down Lenox.
Right.
And yeah, I was like, and here we are. It's so crazy.
Here we are. I know. And I've seen so much growth in your life. Even when I met you, I was like, wow. Right after that, then the show, but we'll get into that, came, and just I've been around, and in both of our lives.
Yeah.
So much have happened, and not only for us, and then the community at large, and everything. So that's pretty exciting. But so listen, so I don't know if people do know you are a Midwestern girl, right?
I'm a Midwestern girl. I'm from
Midwest. Let's talk about that.
I'm from Youngstown, Ohio.
Wow. Okay.
We call it the Yo, but I mean, Ohio is known for Boom Boom Mancini. Youngstown, Boom Boom Mancini. Youngstown State University. We're big into football. I'm not so crazy about football, but
My so ironically, my ex-wife was also, her mom lives in Cleveland, but her grandmother lived in Youngstown, Ohio. So yeah, Julia. So I don't know if Crystal's not on tonight, but if she knows, she'll be like, oh my God, I didn't know they from Youngstown.
Oh my God, we have to talk later. You have to tell me your last name. We probably
So she's from there. And so what was that like? I mean, so I know some of her stories she told me about growing up being a Black girl and living in the Midwest. What was it like for you, and what was your family dynamic like?
Oh, wow. So my parents divorced when I was very young. Mm-hmm. So living between my dad's family and my mom, I was like back and forth. But growing up in Youngstown was, it's very like roots, vegetables. My father was very much into 6 o'clock. We had dinner every day. Forget everything. That was like a rule of the house. But it was it's pretty normal. I went to school. I went to Ursuline High School. And, I have to say, I never felt different or no, I didn't experience racism growing up. Okay. Not until my adult life. It was quickly, once I moved to California, it was quickly then, like, I think that was the first time that I've ever felt,
How old were you?
Yeah.
When did you move to California? How old were you?
Oh my goodness. The first time I moved to California, I was 27.
Okay. So this is later on, right?
Yeah, that's later on in life. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then so and then what did you right after high school, right? Then you moved you went to college. Did you go to college right after high school, or you took some time off and then you came to
I took some time off, and then when I was in New York, I came to New York in year 2000. Oh my God.
Wow. It's a different New York. You got here with a different New York, because literally the atmosphere changed after you were in college during 9/11.
No, I was in New York 9/11.
No, I'm saying, but were you in FIT at the time?
Yes. So yeah, in New York.
Right, you're in New York at FIT,
Yes,
and so you got here prior to 9/11, and then you were in school in New York, you know, with all that is college, hanging out, and you're downtown, and you're with the cool kids and fashion kids.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, you got a situation, you know, you got, you know, a day that would change everything. That's your mom.
That is my mom. Oh my God. How did you find that picture? Yes, that's my mom.
Well, you know, we find things, but you know, we can do a little investigative reporting here. But yeah, so you're here in New York, and go ahead, babe.
My first fashion job was with Roberto Cavalli.
Okay,
And
right.
that kind of broke me into the whole fashion world.
Okay. And you work directly with Roberto Cavalli, or okay?
Not all the time,
Right.
but he was very hands-on. He really he taught me the business, a little girl from, you know, Youngstown, Ohio. So yeah, but you know, what year was that? I think that was like 2002. That was, you know, that was some time ago.
Right. So here you are in a big city, and you're in fashion. Were you always that girl? I mean, from the Midwest, a girl that wanted to be in fashion, in the fashion industry, or you just somehow decided to be in the fashion industry? What was the modus operandi into wanting to be in the fashion world?
I kind of fell into it, really. My mom was a model.
Okay.
So, you know, I always loved clothes, you know, clothes and fabrics and colors and textiles and things like that. But believe it or not, I wanted to be like a veterinarian. I love animals, but when I came to New York, I kind of, you know, I got the fashion job, and then life just kind of took its thing, and I started acting in New York as well. Yeah.
So, oh wow! So now you're doing, which is in common. You know, listen, you're beautiful and you're funny as well. So so we're getting into it. So you're acting, and you're doing the fashion buying. You know, and I heard that you were in comedy. Was that something that you always were, you know, something you always wanted to be, was a comedian? I mean, how do you—
Funny enough, I was named class clown in high school.
Okay.
And I never got that, but yeah. But living in New York, I was with a friend. We were hanging out, and I wanted to do something for my birthday. And I was like, what should I do? Should I sing? And I guess, you know, if you call me funny, you know, it's just kind of funny. I would say I want to do something for my birthday, like sing, because I can't sing. Well, I can hold a tune. But my friend was like, Tiffany, you're funny. You should do stand up. And I'm like, really? You think I'm funny? He's like, yeah, you know. So I was like, okay, let's do it. So I found a writer, and we started working together, and boom, I started at the New York Comedy Club downtown. Wow. And then I started performing like every Thursday.
I'm going to jump back a little bit, only because you mentioned her in your when we were talking before. And did she see any of this for you? Would be your grandma, because you always say you're a grandma's girl, right?
Oh yes, big time grandma's girl.
So talk about your grandma a little bit. I know I'm going back a little bit. I didn't want to leave her out, you know. So what was your grandma like?
She was the rock of the family. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, there's a picture of her with your family, right?
Yeah. Yes, that's her.
Well, yeah, you look just like her.
Oh my God.
You know that's your grandmother in the middle, and you look just like her. My God.
Her name is Peggy, and next to her in the black suit, that's my Uncle Frank.
Cool.
And in the red, that's my Aunt Truly. And those three, yeah, that's my grandma and her brother and her sister.
Nice, nice. And so, like, what kind of advice, or what kind of energy did your grandma give to you? Because you seem like you possess some of that energy. Even looking at that photograph, I feel like there was something. Oh wow, That's a fantastic picture of her. That's like what, the 50s?
Yeah.
Oh wow, she's hot stuff. She's hot stuff.
Thank you.
No, yeah, I mean, let's be honest. She's a looker. Come on, she's gorgeous.
Oh my goodness, this is so much fun. She would get a kick out of this.
Wow.
You know, one thing my grandmother taught all of her grandchildren, and that is your independence and to take care of yourself. And there's 9 of us, and you know, thank God, with her prayers and my nana, her mother, we are all great, thriving through life. And yeah.
That's great. That's great. I just had to give her a little shout out. So we're gonna take it. We're gonna take it because, you know. So here we are. You're in New York, and then so the comedy thing.
Yeah.
Let's navigate that comedy road, right? So you took it from stand-up New York comedy clubs, and then where else did you go with the comedy?
So I decided to pack my bags and go to California. Like, wow! So go to California.
Nice.
So I'm in California, and it's now 2005. I'm in California, and I chose to stay at the Roosevelt Hotel because that was like the it place to be. So I wanted to, you know, mingle with the it people, I guess. And that's where I discovered the red bump on my breast, my right breast.
Wow.
And, that's when life took a turn.
Okay, so okay, let me get a clear picture of what's going on here. So here you are now, looking a lot like that, the hottie on the terrace with the palm trees in the back. You're still the hottie with the palm trees in the back, by the way. She like basically found a terrace in New York that they found palm trees in East Harlem. But I digress. So anyway, now here you are in LA, right? Trying to pursue your career in stand-up, and you find a red bump.
Right.
So tell us about the red bump and what happened from that.
So the red bump alarmed me. When I was really young in high school, I had a lump in my left breast, and I had a mammogram in high schoul. So I was familiar with, you know, mammograms, sonograms, you know, radiologists, and all of these things. So
you were really young. I just want to mention that.
Yeah. So when I was in LA, when I discovered the red bump, I was in my late 20s, and it felt like a mosquito bite, but it didn't itch me, and I wasn't aware of bumping into anything. So I called my radiologist in New York, and I was like, I think I need to come and see you. And I'm always, you know, I'm 0 to 100. So he's like, absolutely not. You're fine, Tiffany. You know, just watch it for the next couple days, and you know, call me. So I waited like a day or so, and then I called him. I was like, it's not changing. It's not itching. I have a bad feeling. And I said, I think I have breast cancer, but that's just me, you know, being in my head. So he's like, listen, if you want to come and you want to check it out, you can come. And so I did. I booked a flight, and I flew in, and I met a friend, and my friend came with me, and we did the mammogram, we did the sonogram. And for whatever reason, I just said, you know, let's biopsy this bump. Can we biopsy it? And he's like, absolutely not. I'm not doing that. You're not going to drive me crazy. And I'm like, come on. I want to go back to LA and like live my life and, you know, not worry about this. So I pushed the envelope. We did the biopsy here in his facility. And I was at lunch, and he calls me back maybe like an hour later. And he's like, you know, with all the tests, you're not going to believe this. You have breast cancer.
Wow. And you kind of had not a premonition, but you felt that could be possible.
Yeah, well, you know, you hear of breast cancer, you think of the breast, you feel a lump, you know, all these things go through your head. And, you know, I think it's like, you know, maybe it was a part of my fear saying it out loud. Did I really believe that I had breast cancer? No, I didn't think breast cancer could happen to a young, you know, woman in her 20s, no breast cancer in the family.
So how did you, how much did you know about breast cancer would be my question.
Well, you know of cancer. You know of lumps and tumors and things like that. You just, in your 20s, you just don't think it could happen to you.
Right.
Like, I know everything about it, but it's not going to happen to me.
Right. Right. And so because you don't, because you don't know much about it, right? Was there any indication of any of this in your family at all? Or I'm just trying to, none. So there was none. There's nothing in your family.
No,
Wow.
it literally fell out the sky.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Wow. And did you know any women with it at all, or?
No, at the time, I knew no one. So when you're diagnosed, and everyone has their own story and their own experience, but for me, I went from the radiologist to an immediate visit with an oncologist.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're not thinking of options, and, you're not really thinking about anything. I think the body just goes into survival.
Mm-hmm.
So I met with one oncologist, and he sat me down, and you're in a room, and he's telling me and reading, saying words that I can barely spell or pronounce, and but he said to me, he said, if you don't do the chemo radiation, you're cooked in 6 months. And if you know me, and you know me, I looked him in the eye and I said, only God knows my expiration date.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. How I always, I don't mean to interrupt, I've always found it weird when I hear someone give someone a time frame, as if to say, it's almost like saying, to that person that, this is it. Like, there's nothing else. And I mean, especially when you hear as a young person that you have breast cancer, and then they say you only have 6 months to live, possibly. Did you go? So Tiff, so you went immediately into chemo, right?
Yeah. So they gave me 30 days because I was like rebellious. I said, my initial was I wasn't going to do chemotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to do radiation. I was going to power through. That was my initial.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, he said, you have 30 days to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And in the cancer world, you do have time frames. It's like with breast cancer and with black women, it's 8 times out of 10 aggressive. Mm-hmm. So the cancer wants to live. It moves fast. It moves quickly. So you're really put in a place where you have to make some tough decisions on how you're living your life now and how you want to live your life in the future, because that's what cancer is. So 30 days. I think maybe on the 25th day, I called my oncologist, my second oncologist that I met with, and I told him that I was going to do the chemotherapy.
Wow, wow. And my question then is, and you mentioned Black and brown women and breast cancer. What's the statistic of Black and brown women in regards to breast cancer?
I don't know the statistics now. The numbers change.
When you were diagnosed.
So when I was first diagnosed in 2005, and what really alarmed me, I was reading in the New York Times. I was doing radiation at the time, and when you do radiation, you have to be there at the same time every day for 31 days, and that's the script, and you have to do it. So I'm there. I'm doing radiation. And I was reading in the New York Times that 62%, and this is then, minority women, black women specifically, die from breast cancer. And that was just astounding to me because from my doctors, speaking to them with my treatment, breast cancer is not a disease that Black women should die from. So, and 80% of white women go through with their follow-up once they are diagnosed. But 62% of Black women weren't doing their follow-up after they were diagnosed.
And why is that? And why is not? So you mentioned 80% of white women are doing a follow-up. Why aren't Black women doing follow-ups when you said 62% are dying? If that's a big number, it's a huge number. Why aren't we following up?
Well, from 2005, when I was diagnosed, to here we are now, and meeting the women through the course of this journey, and when I founded PinkChoseMe in 2005, I would read, like, education was the first, financial was, all these things, but the real bottom line, which I truly believe, is fear. I believe you and I were talking, and there was a story in the New York Times. There was a Black woman. She was a CEO of a company and living in Tennessee, and she was diagnosed stage 4. And her doctor gave her the script, and instead of calling the doctors and getting everything together, she drove herself to the funeral home to pick out. She was like, "I'm dying," and it's where you're, it's so deep. And you and I, we chatted about this briefly, how in the minority communities, doctors are not held, they're not trusting,
Right.
They're not trustworthy. So I've talked to doctors where the one thing I'm like, what's the issue? Why are minority women struggling? And it's because once you're at stage 4, there's no other stage. So once you get to us, once they come to us, Tiffany, at stage 4, it's really too late.
So at that point, it is 6 months or a year or whatever. You're basically prolonging a very short window of time, if possible, right? And then that even depends on how aggressive you go with it. And sometimes I think what you hit on the nail on the head. I know specifically in the Black community, not only is it health, a disparity in the health insurance and all that kind of stuff, but there's also disparity to me in the regards in the way we think about health and the way we think about physicians. So the Tuskegee experiments come to mind. Autism and vaccinations come to mind. And what's been done to women in terms of hysterectomies and those kind of things. So what I'm saying is that we haven't always looked at doctors as something where, like almost like police officers, as people that are there to help and serve us, but possibly that could kill us. I'm not going to the hospital because they're going to try to kill me. Instead of you're going to the hospital because they're trying to save you. And that should be, or you're going to the police because they're trying to protect you. So the way in which we think about those things, I think might, as we mentioned earlier, might be a part of the numbers in regards to the 62%, right? Because they do have health insurance, right? Okay, so it is out there at least.
Yeah, the resources are there in some cases, but I don't want this to get lost in the myths that are out there, because the myth, what backs the myth sometimes is fear.
Right.
So, and when it comes to your health, and especially women all over the world, but especially women of color, and really right now, and the word is value, and valuing yourself to, I talk to my girlfriends, and it's like, it's not just October. I'm happy about October being a celebration of breast cancer, but it's not just October that you should be reminded to take care of your breast. And I also say that, when I was diagnosed the first time, and I really dove into breast cancer and learning about cancer and learning about my body and what works for me, I started to really, my perception not only changed, but the world changed, because you want to taking care of yourself is taking care of the world around you.
Right.
And I really believe that.
So here you are, Tiffany. You're a breast cancer survivor. You're in New York. Now you're acting, and all of a sudden, right? Oprah Winfrey's own network.
Ah!
You're selected to be one of the women in a sort of Black Sex in the City, if I will, called Love in the City. What was that like, sharing something very personal, right? And then also doing it on TV and doing it, in front of the world. What was that like for you?
Are you speaking when the cancer came back?
When it came back, right? Because you already had it, right? And then, right? I'm saying you had it once.
Yes.
And so you're still a survivor.
Yes.
On air, but then it comes back.
Yes.
And and that whole thing. But now you are, you're on Oprah Winfrey's own network on a popular reality show. So what was that like for you?
I felt that it was my duty to let everyone know what I was going through, because you can't put your head in the sand if you're diagnosed with cancer. You have to keep going and keep doing and keep living. So it was important to me to show women that to running towards the fear conquers the fear.
Right.
So that's why I felt empowered having that platform and going through that process again. It was scary, it was like, oh my God, it's back. But,
Okay. So what I like about you, like I see, oh, wow, here is this. See, look.
These pictures.
Listen.
Oh my God.
You are like gangster on that.
I love the water. I love the water. This was
obvious. And you're like, I don't know too many people that actually can, what is that, jet skiing or something?
Yeah. That's a jet ski.
Okay, and like literally your eyes are closed. Like that's how comfortable you are doing this. I would talk about fear. I would be like, oh my God, every little wave, I'm like thinking it's my life's over. But what I like to see when I see this type of picture of you is that, you're living your life and you're living your life to the fullest. And that's what I get from that. I see a woman who's free. I actually see freedom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then there you are. Yoga and the way that you're taking care of yourself. Does that, and bringing that up, mental health. How does mental health and just staying healthy, and I know it might seem like an obvious thing, right? But how does that play into breast cancer, or or does it? Is my question.
Oh, it does. So we're talking about a woman's breast. A breast, not only you feed your children, but you arouse your men. Your breast. I can remember when I wanted my first training bra. How important that is.
Right.
And you have a daughter, Musa. I'm sure.
Oh, honey, she let me know about the training bra. I was like, I did the Wakanda.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really want to know about that, Jade, but okay. But yes, I do want to know.
Yeah.
Where's my baby at? Keep going.
It's your tatas. I call them the tatas. So it plays a huge part. I've met women who they stop after their surgeries, or they took their mirrors down in their homes. Marriages have ended. So your mental health, today, in this day and age, and what the world is upside down, I think it's very important for anyone to focus on anything, sharpen your focus on anything that keeps you sane.
Yeah.
And how I stay, or how I stayed focused on recovery of breast cancer
Mhm.
is Pink Chose Me and helping others and putting myself out there and sharing my story, believe it or not, is a real you know, it's like if just one thing or one person makes a doctor's appointment, you know, goes to a mammogram, does anything, I mean, goes to the dentist, it's all worth it, you know?
Can we talk? So I'm glad you brought that up. Can we talk a bit about Pink Chose Me? I want to talk about your organization. So for those that don't know, I mentioned at the very beginning of the broadcast was that TIFFANY DENEE Jones is the founder of PinkChoseMe Foundation, which is an organization that helps women, specifically probably minority women, right, with breast cancer and breast cancer awareness and prevention and its issues. Can you talk more to us about that and what your organization does so our viewers can know?
Yeah, so Pink Chose Me, our mission is not only to spread breast cancer awareness to everyone, because men can also get breast cancer, you know? So
that's a good point. That's a great point. I think that's a very small group, but nonetheless, I've heard of men that have breast cancer. So I guess we should have. I'm sorry, I meant to interrupt. Should men have mammograms?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, you don't understand. Like, I think when I'm sharing this, this was about giving information, of course, to women, of course, letting women know that you exist, also letting men know, because I think men take it for granted. We think of prostate, especially Black men, and any anything dealing with that part. But we never think of the breast because that's a woman's thing, right?
Yeah.
So
you have a breast. You have,
fuckers.
All of this, all under your arm, all of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. Listen, I'm gonna go have it checked out. So tell us more about like what you were mentioning before about your foundation and some of the benefits of your foundation.
So our mission is to raise breast cancer awareness, focusing on young women, women of color, women living in underserved communities. And we have a program, Patient Navigation, and it's basically a breast cancer reaching out to another breast cancer survivor and walking them through the process. Some women, believe it or not, may not share their journey with their husbands, their boyfriends, their families. And so it's important to walk through that with someone, go to your doctor's appointment with someone, because hearing cancer, you can you don't hear half the stuff the doctor's telling you. And also helping with insurance. People picking the right hospitals, going to the right doctors, and having the encouragement, if one doctor's not working out, to choose another doctor. You don't have to sit in misery. I don't like the doctor and think that there's no other doctors out there. So we're basically empowering women to not only live with your cancer, surrender to it, welcome it, because that really does help you get through your healing. So that's what we're really, really about.
That's great. That's great. I hear a lot of what's most important, and I want to say hi to everyone. Nayata, my cousin, Courtney, we'll bring you on in a second. Diane, Alfred, Christine, Santiago, Shelly, many others, Elizabeth are on. But I wanted to say that, what I hear is about, and Diane, Christine brought up was self-care, was that this is the ultimate self-care for women. And I love that because we also have a retreat. And I think that's really important for women to have a safe space away from us, away from the children, away from life or whatever, because women are busy. You guys are busy 24/7 making this all work.
Yeah.
And you don't always have time to take care of yourself. So I think that's essential to having a moment where it's just
just kind of breathe, and it's really important to loving yourself is just not loving yourself.
They're calling you, baby. Here you go. No.
Loving yourself, it's just not externally, it's internally, and that comes into the health and wellness.
Right.
It's not about the hair, the shoes, the buying of, even buying homes, cars, or those things make you feel good for a few seconds.
Right.
But I share it with a girlfriend of mine. I said, when I go to the dentist and I get a teeth cleaning, I feel like $1 trillion. I mean, it's the best feeling ever that, it just makes me feel good. And I said, that's the same way that, people should really, look at taking care of themselves. It's not just the exterior. It's what's going on the inside. And that's where the word value just comes in. It just keeps popping out in my head, let's get the material things. That's not valuing yourself or loving yourself. It's the true inside of what's going in mentally.
Yeah, I see that. And so here's another question that I would ask is that, so first off, how can people can find you right now, and they can find you on IG. I know you're working on rebranding or reworking on the website, correct?
Yes. So
looking for you. I know they're going to be looking for you, but they can follow you on IG, maybe DM you or something, or
you can DM me. The website PinkChoseMe.org, PinkChoseMe_Foundation. You can even find me on Facebook. You have any questions about your tatas, you want to talk about your tatas, you have somebody that needs to talk about the tatas, I'm here to support and help out.
Fantastic. And so I just want to say now we're moving into another area. And the other area is, I want to say thank you so much to, always want to say thank you so much to my creative team, Paul, Paul, creative director of Ambassador Digital Magazine. He's going to show his face, his handsome little face. He's been having, it's so funny. I was watching CBS. I'm just going to put it out there. I was watching CBS and NBC, and similar glitches were happening. So this is a new age where we're going to find glitches here and there. But Paul would say hi. If he could say hi, I'll say hi for him. Paul, thank you all the time, doing a great job. And my creative team. I want to also say that I'm so grateful now. We have so many people coming on board. We have a copy editor, Marcia Fingal. We've got, that's a really good picture, by the way. I love that picture.
That was Essence Magazine.
When was that? Essence, this was what?
Oh my God, you're aging me now. What is that?
Like 10 years ago, right? 5 years ago.
It's so sad to hear what's going on with Essence. What happened to Essence?
Well, hey, things happen. You know what I mean? I know the people over Essence, and I know they'll bounce back. To me, we all grew up with Essence Magazine. Rich, the founder of Essence, is dope. I love Rich if he's watching. Sidra, my good girlfriend Sidra Smith, handles the digital platform side of Essence. So like anything, I think anytime there's a changing of the guards or anything like that, there's sometimes these things occur. But like they're giant, and I love Essence. I love what they do for women. Like I said, I grew up. My mother had the very first Essence in our household, and so I grew up with Essence magazines. I love them. So Essence. What I want to say to back to our team is that we Marcia Fingal, copy editor. We have a great new stylist, Rocco Thompson. On board. We are also, want to say here now, we are also developing our website. Me and Paul are very excited about that. So, hey, Paul.
Hey, I'm back.
Am I right? Would I say that?
You're so right.
I'm still right now.
We have a website coming. It's very exciting.
Very exciting. And he's great at it. And the woman, would you want to say her name? Or?
Yeah,
Girl?
Farrah Lopez. Farrah Lopez.
I want to say to Farrah, I have not yet met Farrah. Thank you so much, Farrah. This is extremely exciting for us. We love what we do. I know specifically Paul loves to shoot. He's like me, obsessive. two obsessive people, two obsessive creative people found each other and are creating something really dope. He does amazing with his other work, his other photography, and not other, but his pictures and stuff like that on Paul. And I'm just gonna say it because if I say it, they will actually find it, Paul. So there you go. Is you say Paul Morejon, Jon, you'll actually find it. Sometimes it works, Paul. Because if I said it, you want me to say it, right? They might not find it. There we go. See? Okay.
Get into it.
Anyway.
And we also have Courtney. We have Courtney Douglas.
We have Courtney Douglas, and that's what I was moving into. Courtney Douglas, who's with us now. And I love Courtney. He's a young photographer that I met back in the day. I love from Harlem. Me, Paul, and Courtney are all Harlemites. And we use Courtney behind the scenes stuff, but every so often he'll do a great cover for us. And we love nurturing him and nurturing his artistry. So he did TIFFANY DENEE Jones cover the 19th cover for us. And we are gonna get ready to show.
I'm glad you're sitting down. It's fabulous. Hang in there. Let me kind of just cue it up, and I'll be right back. Ready?
We'll cue it up.
All right. We don't have a drum roll, but imagine we're playing right now. All right.
You want to all do it at the same time?
There you go.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful.
They like it too. Okay.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. It gives us like Herb Janet Jackson vibes, like video vibes.
It's a Janet Jackson 90s hot vibe.
Yeah.
Right.
Willow.
And there you have it. TIFFANY DENEE Jones, PinkChoseMe.
Yeah. That's great, guys. I love it.
Okay, go ahead, Courtney.
When you spoke about self-love and self-care, my friend Christine said that, but you spoke about value from within. And not only are you saying it, but we can actually see it, like we feel it, so, and it actually comes through within this, the cover, so seriously, because a lot of times, you're welcome. A lot of people, get diagnosed with certain illnesses, and it tends to dim your like the light within your spirit, or your light is bright. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna get poetic. You guys can continue.
We got some more photos of our light, so hang on a second.
Okay, go ahead.
I got 2 more photos I can share. One of these is like just so lovely. So hang on a second.
Okay, good. We got another. This is guys.
There you go.
Oh, that's so cute.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a cute one.
It's so beautiful. And by the way, if I don't mean to jump in, and by the way, that shirt is a part of the TIFFANY DENEE Jones collection.
Yes.
If we buy a shirt or if someone buys a shirt, does a portion of the proceeds go to PinkChoseMe or?
Yes. Partial proceeds.
We're
in the beginning of the new. It's very new, but yes, I'm very excited about this.
Awesome. Well, we have one more photo. Hang on a second. Then we'll show you
another one.
Yeah, we have one more. Thank you, Diane. Yeah, Courtney did a great job. Let's move on to the next one, which is.
Hi, Courtney. Hi, handsome
This one I
Courtney.
really love. This one has a whole lot of energy in it, so I hope you like it. I'll pull it up.
Okay.
There we go.
All
right.
Yeah. Yes, Studio 54, babe.
Right.
You took it back.
I love that.
That was fun. That was
your idea. The background.
Yeah.
I mean, I would never have thought of that. That's like great.
That is so.
And to be honest, as soon as the elevator opened and we were heading outside, I think we were going downstairs to head outside to shoot. But when the elevator door opened, it caught Musa's eye. He was like, "That wall right there." And I was like, "I see what you're saying." And the whole time while shooting this, I kept getting like Diana Ross vibes. Like I really seriously. Yeah, man.
I love Diana Ross.
Remember, like whenever she would switch angles, she would look like Diana Ross, Tandy Newton, Jada Pinkett. It was like so many beautiful black women from
You were morphing like crazy. You kept saying Jackson. No, it's Jada. No, it's Diana Ross. You know what I mean? You see it. Y'all ain't sleep. And by the way, have you ever met Diana Ross?
Yes.
That must have been fun, right?
Oh my God, I met her several times.
She's dope. She's so sweet.
Yeah,
Really sweet. I've met her a couple times too. But anyway, forget Diana Ross right now. Sorry, Diana. We love you, and I'm good friends with her daughter, Rhonda Ross. You know, I love you, and I'm right, Grandma. But right now, she would even say it's all about TIFFANY DENEE Jones. I love this cover. I love it. It's great. Pause.
It's always about Diana Ross.
That is like the ultimate right there. That is so classic.
and take a bow.
It's so true.
Always, Miss Ross.
Always, Ross, the boss. We love you.
I wanted to say, I know you just displayed 3 images, and it's kind of interesting because usually when I see the different photos that are displayed of the cover models, it's always like a different vibe, but all 3 of them display her joy and like her happiness and the smile, you know. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, you really, Tiff, like you really have a smile that never gets old. It's like, it's timeless, you know? So yeah, every picture that pops up, it's like, it makes us smile like again, you know. It's like even if we had an idea, you couldn't go wrong. Like once we captured the smile. So, you know what I mean?
Oh
it's magical like that.
Thank you, Courtney.
No, he's 100% right. That's why even when I was talking to you earlier and I said I had to ask you that essential question, and that would be a question that maybe we can almost leave on that one, is that, you know, Tiffany, tell us about where does that joy that you have, where does it stem from? It's just so beautiful to see it. I mean, I you know, and I want women out there that are going through going through anything. If you're going through anything in life, you know what I mean? Having that sense of joy that Tiffany has is amazing. I really got to say, I'm actually inspired.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I could, you know, through everything, I would have to see. I want to be here. I want to live. And I believe everyone does the best that they can. And I don't take myself so seriously, you know? And the way the world is, you know, all the likes and the internet, and it's just really upside down. And you know, sometimes I'll have a conversation, you know, it's not about how many likes, it's about who likes. It's not about, you know, what you can do. It's about what you can do for others. So, I guess the takeaway is that we all, and excuse me, in this big, magnificent world, universe, you have everything that you need. You are everything that you need. Fear is just something in your head. And, you know, when you face your fears, you will be astonished of the things that you can create, the things that you can do, the things that you can manifest. We are our true healers. And moving through love in everything I've found, and in your truth, I found that, you know, it's an automatic joy. It's something that you don't look for. It's just something that kind of falls out the sky. And there it is.
I you know, I don't even want to I can't touch that.
Right.
Tiffany, what I will say is thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for this amazing hour of talking to you. You have been, you know, an amazing, amazing guest. You are an amazing guest, and continue the great work that you're doing. Once again, people go to on Instagram at PinkChoseMe, at PinkChoseMe _foundation. And DM her. You want her to speak, you want to donate, you want to spend your time, you know someone who needs her services, maybe a good talk or whatever that can, you know, maybe help her with her retreat, whatever. I think you definitely this is someone that you definitely need to be in connection with. And I want to say thank you so much for grace. From us here at Ambassador Digital Magazine, I think I speak on behalf of all of us in saying thank you so much for gracing our issue number 19.
Ah! Oh, you know, 19 is my birthday.
Oh,
Me too. I'm just in the 19. I just thought about it. Yeah.
no, they're like bugging out right now.
Yeah.
No, and my daughter is the 19th.
Wow.
July 19th, about her. So I'm like, I love it. I gotta play it.
That's synchronicity, man.
Okay, synchronicity. So there you have it. Thank you for being a part of us once again. Thank you for everyone that joined us tonight. Share this with your friends. Join us at Ambassador _mag at IG, on IG, or on Facebook or YouTube, Ambassador Digital Mag. Find out how you can get involved as well with what we're doing and let people know about what we're doing. And we will see you next week here at 7 p.m. And you go in love. And as I always like to say, live your life with passion and purpose.
Boom.
With that, boom. Thank you for the love, everyone. And we're going to say goodnight. And vote.
Everybody.
Vote next month. Every week until. Remember, if you can vote early, vote early. But we're all going to vote, and we're voting. We're voting blue.
So pay no mind to this red in the back. This is just my backdrop. I thought it would turn out pink, but it's not.
You look great. You look great. Amazing. And thank you, everyone, for joining. We will see you next week. Enjoy your night.
Good night.
Bye. Thanks.